I'm going to say a few really pedestrian things about accent from a social linguistic viewpoint. Accent in social linguistics is a really very big object of investigation and of attention. And accent, as we know, is an incredibly strong indexical of identity. Your accent gives you away. And if it isn't clear, like, oh, you clearly have a German accent or a French accent in your English, it at least raises the question, where are you from? I mean, you have a funny accent, where are you from? An incredibly strong indexical of belonging, of identity. And in that sense, in social linguistics, a very important, object of investigation. And the pedestrian things I have to say are things you may want to communicate to your first year students. And remarkably, you will see that for very many people, they're eye-openers. They've never stopped to think about it. First thing I need to say is there is no accentless language. So whenever we produce language, we produce it with an accent. And we have this expression, accentless language. And usually it's a very, how should I say, a very good qualification. If somebody says, oh my goodness, you speak accentless English, it's meant to be really good English. Now, when we call a variety of English accentless, it means that it has the most powerful accent. An accent so powerful, so prestigious, all right, that is no longer perceived as an accent, that it is perceived as accentless, just the language as it should be spoken, right? It is the norm of language. And those who embody that norm, who produce accentless English or any other form of language, are sociolinguistically in a way made invisible. They don't have an accent, while of course, they should be in sociolinguistically speaking in focus, because they are the people who are all the way up there as speakers in an ideological hierarchy of evaluation of different varieties. That's the first point. Second point, usually we restrict accent to speech, to spoken varieties of language. But we overlook accent in writing or in any other form in which we produce meaning. There is clear accent in writing as well. And now I'm not referring, to the sort of Asian English that you find on funny websites, that show you errors. No. There is individual accent in writing. We very often call it style, but there is also the accent, that betrays that somebody is highly educated, that somebody is a working class immigrant, and so on and so on. So in writing as well, we find accent. If you go to social media, there is the accent of the beginner, the learner, the apprentice, versus the accent of those who are highly skilled in the production of specific, varieties of science, for instance, on social media. Okay, and that brings me to a third point. Usually, when we think about accent, we think about we think about accent as a diacritic indicating nationality, ethnicity, forms of regional belonging, and so on and so on and so on. But accent reflects basically every sociological distinction. So there is gender accent, there is age accent. Very importantly, there is the accent of social class, right? There is the accent of levels of education. And all of this, is reflected in the actual ways in which people communicate. And in that sense, accent is an extremely sensitive indicator of who people are. I already said it's a very strong indexical of identity, all right? But sociolinguistically, we can go a lot further than just saying, hey, you got a funny accent, you must be German, or you must be Dutch, or you must be Italian, or whatever. No, we can go a lot further in investigating like the social biography of a particular individual on the basis of accent. Having said this, and in conclusion, accent in that sense is a bit clumsy, in the sense, that it becomes a word for which we have to, or at least, that basically indicates a lot of different phenomena. And my own strategy is to avoid it in the traditional sense, or at least use it minimally. But whenever I can avoid it, I will avoid it. And when I look at variation in language, I usually start from action. So variation at the level of what people do. And we also have the accent of particular occupations and of particular moments in our life, like the accent of being in love, or the accent of being ill, and so on and so on and so on, right? So the point is, sociolinguistically, whenever we produce language, we're involved in an action, a particular action. We can also, let's say, describe this action as particular, all right? And then look at the specific resources that we deploy within that action, all right, and analyze them. And here I think we have a much better word than accent, and the word is register, a specific set of resources that are specialized functionally and attached to particular types of activity.